economic regulations and regulating the public policy, economic policies, the roles and the functions of the custom tariffs. I happen to be a theorist, and from this standpoint, I've done some summarizing, and this summarizing in regards to the customs policy, and also coupled with the tax policies. Well, I will some certain economic hypotheses will have to be predicated upon the global approaches and applications, because we've yet to improve and complete the customs policy. Therefore, I'll cover certain hypotheses through general summaries. Economic, in safeguarding our independence, economic security actually does play a substantial part, which is an indispensable part of the sovereignty. But I'll go a step ahead and say that economic security, in safeguarding this actually overall security, happens to be the most important part, because everything starts with economic might. If we lack economic might, without preservation of economic might and security, national security can and may not be accomplished. And therefore, for the sustainable growth of economic security and development growth, these actually play a significant role. To me, when Azerbaijan in safeguarding the economic security, there are many attributes that will have to play a substantial role. And these attributes, these traits, to a large extent will have to be taken into account. And without these, if you will, the safeguarding elements, the preservation of this national security will be out of questions. To preserve the national security or economic security must not lead to isolation from the world economy. So resource, energy, resources preservation, its further fortification in the geopolitical space, to diminish the hazardous, pernicious, if you will, the developments, and has by the virtue of this mutual and cooperation with world countries, as well as global and effective, that is secure the effective protection of the global value chains. These are the key factors. This is not an axiom to defend. These are various possible transformations that may happen and take hold in certain countries. Azerbaijan, under the administrative factors that have been delayed to a certain extent. Azerbaijan is a sovereign country, but in the space of this sovereignty, it has not been only the oil factors, and Azerbaijan certainly has been assigning a great emphasis to the growth and development and diversification of the non-primary, that is a non-oil sector, as well, and through the production of the non-oil commodities. That this still isn't the pivotal factor. Through the customs, it's the transport and certainly export to the world markets that will certainly play a significant role. There are two key factors that must be incorporated. So regulation through the administrative efforts, and secondly, economic regulatory efforts is yet another factor that I certainly bear in mind to lay out as an economic term. Economic regulation can exclusively be done by through the tariff policy, actually the custom duties and tax regulations. Sometimes we think that through certain presumptions, through as actually hypothesis, that we may achieve the customs policy, but both customs and tax policies are backed by the regulations, and we may not go beyond the existing regulations, and therefore certain recommendations may not live up to our far-sighted expectations, because every single country in line in compliance with the conventions, developments, the past development, certain systems are possible certainly to be introduced. So this is the key challenge in terms of the imported goods. Prices must be taken into account. Those pricing and tariffs must be incorporated in certainly certain factors. And some insights, ideas may not live up to our expectations. Based on this regulatory measures or interventions, the tariff duties will certainly contribute to that effect. And speaking of the tariff policies, there is a law that is certainly stipulates very clearly what it stands for. And law reads, I quote, the custom duties, it's when applicable to the tariff goods and through the foreign economic operation in line with the commodity system is a systemized compilation, unquote. And the custom tariffs objectives are as following. A. So which purposes they are certainly aimed at sorting out and accomplishing. These are the following targets that you can see on the screen. A. Import and commodity systems rationalization. B. Export and import with the rational ratio preservation, as well as the commodities and the commodity of service and goods, except the creating conditions for temporary transformations. Then, in order to protect, to stem the pernicious habits and possible certainly impacts. So these are the targets by themselves as such. Do actually square with overall objectives through which in connection, in association with the custom tariffs and duties are similar, almost actually square with each other one to one. The custom tariffs have to be very similar, with one digit, one pillar, and they are divided into various categories. The simple tariffs is in line with the previous tariff, but then the complicated tariffs, there are other tariff policies that they overlap with. So this certainly stems from the fact that certain economic trade cooperations, even in the absence, in the default of the treaties, so it's a complicated tariff policies are employed. In the Republic of Azerbaijan, when it comes to say tariff regulations with the customs, as well as on the law, the tariffs and the custom duties are defined as following. The custom tariffs, it's on importing and exporting of certain goods. It is the part of the custom fees charged. Yes, the law clearly defines what the tariff is, but when it comes to the application, it certainly depends on certain countries' applications. So it's not only about identifying the identification of the tariff. Many other factors are built into specificities, such as technical conditions, even the specificities, even the environmental, scientific, the currency policies. And without taking into account these tariff systems, are impossible to be properly realized. If tariffs are to be taken into account, we'll find that in line with the tariff system, certain regulatory measures, even dates back to the end of the 19th century and in the beginning of the 20th century, only was carried out through in terms of the fiscal approach. It had used to be, but in the second half, the 20th century, this regulatory mechanisms or methods, for that matter, simply transform its shape from. There's a new definition emerged, such as regulatory approach, but on separate with some commodities and identification and assigning certain tariffs. That are two major custom factors must be taken into board. the global prices. At the same time, the domestic local prices of those commodities that could, through the relative comparison that will require the assignment of the tariffs to certain goods and commodities, which plays a significant role in pursuing the protectionist policies. Just off the records, the law, certain issues stipulated may not live up to the expectations, and those laws will become inevitable, will be to amend. For example, in the United States of America, the former President Reagan, Republican president, and Margaret Thatcher once with the certain transformations. The Reaganomics theory emerged, and Thatcherism as a notion, as a sort of theory emerged. What they actually stem from. Reagan once quoted that he doubled down on trickle-down policies. The trickle-down policies. Well, that's why this in the theory emerged. Now that Trump is in power, now he's trying to introduce this kind of but whether is he going to live up to his expectations? But the taxes, reducing taxes from 35 to 15%.